The prisoner and the captain. The room was cold and dark. Metal walls, blinking red lights, and a single table in the center. Chains rattled quietly. Zayla, an alien female with silver eyes and deep blue skin, sat with her hands tied in front of her. Her long dark hair was messy and her eyes burned with anger. She had been captured during the Battle of Sector 9. Most of her team had died. Now she was the last one. A prisoner of the humans. The door slid open with a hiss. A man stepped inside. Tall, strong, wearing a black uniform with red lines. Captain Rain. Everyone on the station knew his name. A war hero. Some said he had no heart. Some said he had lost it a long time ago. Zayla looked at him and narrowed her eyes. "You again," she said with hate in her voice. Rain pulled out a chair and sat across from her. He placed a small recorder on the table. He didn't speak at first. He just stared at her. "Why am I still alive?" she asked. "Why haven't you killed me yet?" Rain leaned forward slowly. His voice was calm, like ice. "Because dead enemies don't talk. And you have things to say." Zayla laughed bitterly. "You think I'll help you?" "You already have," he said, pointing to a small device in her pocket. They had taken it from her when she arrived. "This thing gave us some very useful data." Her face changed, panic just for a second, then anger. "I hate you," she cried. Rain didn't flinch. He looked at her, eyes sharp and steady. "Good," he replied. "Now we begin to understand each other." Silence filled the room. Only the low hum of the station was heard. Zayla looked away. "You think this is war? You think you're winning? You have no idea what's coming." Rain raised an eyebrow. "What's coming?" "I came to warn you," she said. "Not to fight. But your people attacked first." Rain stood up, walked to the other side of the room, and looked at the wall display. A map of several galaxies glowed faintly. His voice was quieter now. "My brother died on Varix 4. Your ships destroyed our colony." "I know," Zayla said. "I was there. I saw it happen, but it wasn't our plan. Something else is playing this game." Rain turned sharply. "Who?" Before she could answer, the lights flickered. The station shook slightly. Then the alarm went off. Red lights blinked faster. A voice came from the speakers. "Unknown vessel detected. Security teams to Sector 3. Unknown life signs detected." Rain grabbed his communicator. "This is Captain Rain. Report." "Captain," the voice replied, They're not hers, they're not ours either. They just tore through level 5. We're losing control." Rain looked at Zayla. She was calm now. "It's too late," she said. "They found us." "Who are they?" he demanded. "The ones who made me," she whispered. Suddenly the lights went out. Only the red emergency light glowed, casting shadows on their faces. Rain pressed a button. The door locked with a heavy click. "You're not leaving this room until you tell me what's going on." "You're locking me in here?" she asked, amused. "With them coming?" "Then talk," Rain said. Zayla leaned forward, her voice soft but clear. "Years ago, before this war started, there was a secret project. Humans and my kind, we worked together. We tried to make something stronger, smarter, a perfect protector." "You mean a weapon?" "Yes," she said. "But it grew too fast, it broke free. Now it's growing, learning, copying. It doesn't see species. It sees threats, and it's coming for both of us." Outside, screams echoed through the hallway. Gunfire. Then silence. Rain looked at the door, then back at her. "If this is true," he said, "why did you wait until now?" "Because I thought I could stop it myself," she said. But I was wrong. The door shook. Something hit it from the other side. Rain pulled a weapon from his belt. He looked at Zayla. "Can I trust you?" She smiled. "No, but we don't have a choice." A loud bang echoed through the room. The metal door started to bend. Rain unlocked her. "Cuffs. Stay behind me," he said. "You're going to regret this," she replied. "Already do," he muttered. They stood together, side by side, weapons ready, as the door cracked open, and the nightmare stepped in. Unwelcome visitors. The metal door twisted inward with a loud groan, like something alive was tearing through steel. Captain Rain stood with his weapon raised, his jaw clenched, heart pounding, but his face remained calm. Behind him, Zayla crouched low, her glowing eyes fixed on the crack forming in the door. A thick black claw, too long for any human hand, forced its way through. The fingers had no skin, just raw muscle and dark metal growing from bone. "Back up," Rain said. "No," Zayla replied. "If it gets in here, we both die. Then give me something useful." She didn't answer. Instead, she raised her hand. From her wrist, a small pulse of energy glowed, faint, like a dying star. "I'll hold it off for 30 seconds, she said, breathing heavy. "But after that, run." "Not happening," Rain growled. The door exploded open. A creature rushed in, silent, fast, and horrifying. Its body was shaped like a human's, but stretched. Longer arms, too many joints, no face, just smooth skin over a skull-like mask. No eyes, no mouth. And yet it stared straight at Rain. It moved faster than any enemy he had faced. Rain fired. 3 shots hit. No effect. Zayla threw her hand forward. A wave of blue energy smashed into the creature's chest, sending it flying back into the wall. For a moment it didn't move. Rain grabbed Zayla's arm. "We're leaving." "Finally," she muttered. They ran into the corridor, alarms flashing above. Dead bodies lined the hallway. Human soldiers, sliced open. No blood, just black marks, like corrosion or acid. Rain forced himself not to look down. "Command, this is Rain. We've got intruders, non-humans, unknown origin. Preparing evac. Do you copy?" No answer. Only static. Zayla looked around. "You're cut off. They've taken the comms." "You seem awfully calm about that." "I've seen worse. That's what worries me." They moved quickly through the dark halls, past broken doors and sparks flying from damaged panels. At every turn, Rain saw more bodies. Some still twitching, some half-merged into the walls. It wasn't just a massacre. It was like the station was being eaten. "They don't kill to kill," Zayla said quietly. "They consume, absorb, learn." Rain stopped. "What are they?" "They're called the Hollowborn," she said. "We created them by accident. They were supposed to protect life across galaxies, but they learned too fast. They became something else." "And you brought them here?" She turned sharply. "No, I ran from them. Your people caught me before I could finish the warning." He stared at her for a moment. His instincts said not to trust her, but his gut said she wasn't lying. They entered the weapons bay. 2 surviving soldiers looked up, scared, confused. "Captain," one shouted. "They're—" A wall behind them burst open. The creature returned. This time it was different. It had grown. Longer legs, arms now covered in armored spikes. A strange glowing line across its chest, almost like a copy of Zayla's own energy pulse. "It's learning from us," she whispered. Rain didn't wait. He threw a flash grenade and ordered everyone out. The room shook as the grenade went off. White light filled the space. Outside, the group ran down a narrow maintenance shaft. Small, cramped, dark. "Where are we going?" one soldier asked. "To the docking bay," Rain said. "We get off this station now." "And then?" Zayla asked. "Then you tell me how to kill that thing." She didn't answer right away. Her face was pale. Scared. "I don't know if it can be killed," she said. "But I know what it's looking for." "What?" "Me." They reached the docking bay, a large open chamber with ships lined up like sleeping birds. Fires burned across the walls. Escape pods were missing. The rest had been torn apart, except one ship, Rain's personal recon vessel. "Get on," he ordered. As the others boarded, Zayla stopped. "It's coming." He looked back. "How do you know?" "Because it's calling me." She held up a small device. A light blinked red. "This signal, it's from the first lab, the original place where they were born, and now they're calling me back." "Why would they call you?" "Because I was part of the first experiment," she said softly. "My blood, helped make them. You're saying you're... Yes, she nodded. I'm half hollow-born. Before Rain could reply, the ship's engines roared to life. They lifted off just as the docking bay exploded behind them. In space, the stars looked peaceful. But peace was a lie. Inside the ship, silence grew between them. Finally, Rain spoke. So you're part of the thing we're fighting? No, she said. I'm the reason you still have time to fight. Why me? He asked. Why tell me all this? Because you've seen the truth, she replied. And because your brother was the only other human who understood. Rain froze. What did you say? She handed him a small memory chip. Your brother was working with us. He helped start the project. He didn't die on Varix 4. Not right away. Rain stared at the chip. His hands trembled for the first time. You're lying. Play it, she said. The screen lit up. His brother's face appeared. Tired. Older. Wearing the same uniform Rain now wore. If you're watching this, the recording said, then they're coming. I tried to stop them. I failed. But maybe you still can. The message ended. Rain looked at Zayla. What happens now? She looked at the stars through the window. Now, she whispered, we go to the beginning. Secrets in the core. The stars outside were quiet. Too quiet. Captain Rain sat in silence, staring at the memory chip in his hand. His brother's voice still echoed in his mind. I tried to stop them. I failed. Beside him in the cockpit, Zayla didn't speak. She knew what was coming next. Questions, doubts, pain, but also truth. The recon ship cut through deep space, heading for a planet not marked on any recent human map. A black, cold rock floating near the edge of a dead system. This place isn't in our files, Rain said finally. It was erased. Zayla replied. By your own command. He turned toward her. How do you know that? Because your brother told us to. Rain didn't speak. He looked away, gripping the controls tighter. After a long pause, he asked, What happened here? Zayla's voice lowered. This was the first joint lab, a secret place. Your people and mine. We worked together here. Not for peace. Not for war. For control. We tried to build something beyond race, beyond limits. Something that could protect every world from destruction. Rain scoffed. You mean a weapon? Zayla nodded. A living one. The planet came into view, covered in storms, no sign of life, but somewhere deep below the surface. Something waited. We need to land near the core vault, she said. If the records are still there, we'll find out what really went wrong. Rain narrowed his eyes. I thought you already knew. Zayla looked at him. I know what they told me. But lies come easy in war. The ship touched down on cracked black stone. Lightning danced across the sky. The air was thin and sharp. A ruined facility stretched ahead, part of it buried under fallen rocks and ash. They stepped out, weapons ready, the last two soldiers staying behind to guard the ship. Inside the lab, it was like stepping into a grave. Broken lights flickered. Shattered glass crunched underfoot. Burn marks covered the walls as if something powerful had burst out long ago. Stay close. Zayla whispered. Rain walked through the halls, each step pulling him deeper into memory. He remembered this place. Faintly. A corridor. A door with strange markings, a voice, his brother's voice. You were here, he said suddenly, years ago, with me. Zayla nodded slowly. You don't remember much, they erased it from your mind. Why? Because you were the first test subject. Rain stopped walking. His breath caught in his throat. What did you say? Zayla faced him, slowly, gently. You were part of Project Unity, she said. They used your DNA to try to bind human and alien genes, to build the first hybrid core. Your brother believed it had to be someone with something more. I'm not, Rain shook his head. I'm not part alien, Not anymore, she said. They removed it when you were a child, but not all of it. His hands curled into fists. So this war, he said bitterly, was built on my blood? No, Zayla said. This war was built on fear. Your blood just gave them a reason to hope. They reached a sealed door marked Core Lab. Restricted. Zayla placed her hand on the scanner. The door opened with a loud hiss. Inside, lights flickered to life. A large chamber filled with machines, tanks, and data panels. At the center stood a huge pod, empty, broken from the inside. That's where they were born, she said. The Hollowborn. Rain stepped closer, reading the words on the old human panel. Subject 01. Codename. Mirage. His eyes widened. Mirage, he whispered. That was my brother's call sign. Zayla stepped beside him. Your brother didn't just help create them, he became one. The pod behind them clicked. A faint blue light blinked. Rain spun, weapon raised. A hologram activated. His brother's image appeared. Older, tired, eyes full of regret. If you're seeing this, then the Hollowborn have survived, the message said. And I've failed to stop them. They were never supposed to grow this fast, never meant to think for themselves. He paused. Rain, I'm sorry. You never should have been part of this. But you were the only one who could survive it. You were always stronger than me. The message glitched, then continued. The core still holds the original design, the genetic seed. If we can destroy it, we stop their ability to evolve. Zayla looked at Rain. He's talking about a power source hidden in the planets. Core? How do we get to it? The same way they did, she said. We go down. A loud sound echoed above, a high-pitched screech. Rain turned to the scanner panel. They followed us, he said. How many? Zayla closed her eyes, sensing them. Dozens, maybe more. We have to destroy the seed now. She nodded. There's an elevator shaft. We go through the lower vault. They ran through the lab, dodging falling debris and broken tiles. Alarms began to blare again, old systems detecting movement. As they reached the shaft, the air turned cold. Below them, in the deep black void, something massive moved. They're already guarding the core, Zayla whispered. Then, we fight, Rain said. Zayla looked at him. No, you fight. I activate the fail code. Fail code? A command buried in the original programming, she said. They won't hurt me, not yet. But they might kill you. She smiled sadly. I was dead the moment we made them. Rain stared at her. He didn't trust her. But he didn't want to lose her either, not anymore. He stepped into the shaft. Don't die, he said. You either, she replied. You're more important than you think. They dropped into the dark. As the shadows swallowed them, the Hollowborn waited, watching, learning. And somewhere in the core of the world, the seed still pulsed with life. The hybrid truth. The descent into the core felt like falling into a dream, or a nightmare. Darkness swallowed the elevator shaft. Only a red emergency light blinked as Rain and Zayla dropped into the deep unknown. Metal walls rushed past, silent and old, like they hadn't been touched in years. Rain gripped the side railing. How deep does this go? Zayla didn't answer right away. Her eyes were distant. The core is not just below the surface, she finally said. It's buried in a protective shell, layered with energy fields, meant to keep something in, not out. The seed? She nodded. The original hybrid code. It was locked down after the incident you helped cause. Zayla looked at him. Her voice was calm but sharp. I didn't cause it. I survived it. There's a difference. The elevator slowed with a screech. Below them, a massive door came into view, cracked open, glowing faintly with blue light. Brace yourself, Zayla whispered. This is where the truth lives. They stepped into a massive underground chamber, walls lined with old tech, human and alien, fused together. Tanks filled with unknown liquid, long dead. Strange symbols pulsed on the floor beneath their feet. and in the center of the room a giant crystal sphere suspended in energy, glowing, alive. The seed. It looks alive, Rain said. Because it is, Zayla replied. It's not just code. It's thought, memory, DNA, emotion, rage. He stepped closer, staring into the swirling energy. For a moment he saw a face, his brother's, flicker in the light. He's in there, Rain whispered. A copy of him, Zayla said. His mind, his choices, part of the core's memory now. Suddenly, a low growl echoed behind them. They turned. 3 Hollowborn entered the chamber, walking like ghosts, silent, elegant, deadly. Rain raised his weapon. No, Zayla said, stepping forward. They won't attack. Not yet. The largest of them tilted its head. Unlike the others, it had something on its chest, a piece of human armor melted into its skin, with a name tag, Capt. J. Rain. That was my brother's, Rain said. Breath-catching. No, Zayla said. That is your brother. Rain froze. What? Zayla's voice was soft now, full of pain. He didn't die, Rain. He became the first true hybrid. Subject 0. You said the core held a copy of his mind. It does, but he also lives in them. The hybrid stepped closer. It didn't attack. It simply stood there, watching, waiting. We came to destroy the seed, Rain said, still gripping his weapon. The hybrid shook its head. A voice, glitchy, broken but human, came from its chest. No, brother, we must evolve. Rain stepped back, shaken. This isn't possible. He still remembers you, Zayla said. That's why he called you here. He believes you're the missing piece. The hybrid raised one clawed hand, slowly, and pointed at Rain. Merge, it whispered. One blood, one mind, one future. Zayla stepped between them. No, he has a choice. The hybrid's eyes glowed brighter. The chamber lights dimmed. You can't stop what's coming, it said. Either join us or be erased. Suddenly, more Hollowborn dropped from the ceiling. Dozens, maybe hundreds. They surrounded the seed, forming a living wall. Rain, Zayla whispered. We need to leave. Now. We came to destroy it. We can't, not like this. Not without backup. We need help. There is no help, Rain growled. Yes, she said. There is. But you have to do something you'll hate. He looked at her, eyes sharp. What? Send a signal to your command. Tell them where we are. They'll bomb this whole planet. Exactly, she said. And that's the only way to destroy the seed. Rain hesitated. His brother was still in there. But so was something. Darker, something twisted. Do it, Zayla said. Before they change their mind. Rain activated his communicator. This is Captain Rain, he said, voice steady. Priority 1. Location, unknown planet, dead system Zeta 12. Threat level, extinction. Request orbital strike. Now. The line was silent. Then a voice responded. Acknowledged. Orbital weapons charging. Impact in 7 minutes. Rain turned to Zayla. Now. What? We run. They sprinted toward the elevator shaft, but the hybrids didn't chase, they just watched, as if waiting. As if inviting the destruction. Something's wrong, Rain said. Why aren't they stopping us? Zayla's eyes widened. Because they want the seed destroyed. What? They've outgrown it, she said. They don't need it anymore. They've already evolved. They just wanted you to see. See what? Zayla looked at him. That the next war isn't coming. It's already here. They reached the surface. Their soldiers were gone, torn apart. The recon ship had been ripped in half. Rain turned to the sky. 3 bright lights burned above. Human orbital weapons. Zayla fell to her knees. We're not going to make it, she whispered. Rain looked at the wreckage, the bodies, the blood, then at her. Yes, he said. We are. He grabbed her, arm pulled her toward the only thing left standing, a half-buried escape pod. Get in, Reyna, get in. They closed the hatch just as the sky exploded. The strike hit the planet like the hand of God. Fire, light, thunder. The ground tore apart. The seed, the hybrids, the lab, all gone. Then silence. Pure, endless silence. Inside the pod, everything shook. Systems failed. Oxygen dropped. Lights flickered. Rain held Zayla close, both of them coughing, bleeding, shaking, but alive. "You okay?" he whispered. She nodded weakly. "You saved me." "No," he said. "You saved me first. This is just payback." Outside, the planet was now just fire and dust, but something moved in the flames. One shape, a single figure, walking through the fire, untouched. The hybrid, still alive and smiling. Alliance of enemies. The escape pod floated silently through. Space, a metal coffin drifting in the cold Black Sea. Inside, everything was dark. No oxygen flow, no heat. Just two lives barely holding on. Captain Rain opened his eyes slowly. The emergency light blinked red. His ears rang. His body ached. The pod had taken a beating from the blast wave. "Zayla?" He turned. She was slumped in the corner, her skin pale, breathing shallow. He crawled over and placed 2 fingers on her neck. Pulse. Weak, but still there. "Stay with me," he whispered. His hand reached for the comm switch. Dead. No signal. The last coordinates were still blinking on the screen, the shattered remains of the lab planet, now just a crater of fire and smoke. The seed was gone. But the war had only just begun. Hours later, the pod was picked up by a human patrol ship. The soldiers were tense, armed, silent. Rain and Zayla were taken to a secure facility orbiting Mars. Rain woke up in a medical bay, tied to a chair. A bright light shined into his eyes. "You're awake," a familiar voice said. He looked up. General Mira Talon, head of planetary defense. Cold, efficient, zero tolerance. "Captain Rain," she said, folding her arms. "You've been busy." Rain coughed. "You're welcome for not being dead." She didn't smile. "You disobeyed direct orders, entered a no-fly zone, made contact with a classified species, and requested a level 0 orbital strike, without authorization, and saved the galaxy. Did you?" Rain leaned forward. "The hybrids are real. They're not a myth. They've evolved beyond what we created, and they're coming." "You're not the first to say that," Talon replied, "but you might be the last who gets to say it freely." She nodded toward the door. 2 guards dragged Rain to a holding room. Zayla was already inside, cuffed to the wall. Her eyes opened as he entered. "So, how's the welcome party?" "They're thinking about executing us." "Good," she said, smiling weakly. "Then they know we're telling the truth." 3 days passed. No questions, no answers, just isolation, until finally, the EO. Door opened. Not Talon this time. A new figure walked in. Tall, wearing alien armor. Gray skin, golden eyes. Zayla stood up instantly. "General Varrock." "Zayla," the alien said coldly. "Traitor, failure, disgrace." Rain stepped forward. "She saved your world and mine." Varrock ignored him. "You brought a human into our holy lab. You burned the seed. Do you even know what you've done?" "I stopped extinction," Zayla said. "No," Varrock replied. "You postponed it." He turned to Rain now. "Human, your war council has contacted our leaders. They want a joint strike team, an alliance, against the hybrids." "Good," Rain said. "It's about time." "I don't agree," Varrock said, "but the decision has been made." He tapped a device on his wrist. A hologram appeared showing footage from deep space. A massive ship, not human, not alien, drifting near a red dwarf star. Inside it, hundreds of hybrids, growing in pods. The ship was a factory, a birthing ground. We call it the womb of silence, Varrock said, and it's heading toward Earth. Rain's blood ran cold. How long? 11 days. Zayla stepped forward. Then we hit it before it gets near. Send a fleet. Nuke it from orbit. Varrock looked at her with something like pity. You don't understand. It's not just a ship, it's a conscious ship. The womb thinks, adapts, and if it senses a threat, it disappears. Cloaking tech? Rain asked. Worse, Varrock said. It slips into another layer of space, and where your weapons can't touch it. So what's the plan? Rain asked. Varrock paused. We send in a team. Small, fast, powerful, and we destroy it from the inside. Rain narrowed his eyes. You mean me? You, Zayla, and one of ours. Suicide mission? Probably. Rain looked at Zayla. You in? I started this, she said. I finish it. They were given a stealth ship, barely held together but fast. On board was a third member, an alien named Yorick, cybernetically enhanced, skilled in infiltration, silent as death. Rain didn't like him. Yorick didn't like Rain either. Perfect team. As they approached the womb, the silence in space grew heavier. No signals, Rain whispered. That's normal, Zayla said. It blocks thoughts. Thoughts? It doesn't just kill you, Rain. It learns what you fear and it uses it. He swallowed hard. Great. They found a docking tunnel and latched on, entered through a breach near the outer hull. Inside, nothing, just shadows and whispers, not sound but feelings. Rain felt something in his chest and tight, cold, like someone was watching his memories. Stay close, Yorick said. They moved deeper into the ship, and then they saw them, hybrids, still inside their pods, growing, each one different, each one more human than before. Some had faces. Some had his face. They're copying you, Zayla whispered. They remember your blood. Can we blow it now? Rain asked. No, Yorick said. We haven't reached the core. As they moved forward, the ship changed. The walls pulsed like muscle. Doors vanished, reappeared elsewhere, and the voices grew louder. You failed him, the whispers said. He died because of you. Rain turned, gun raised, no one there. Ignore it, Zayla said. It's the ship. It's alive. They reached a chamber, at the center. A heart. Not symbolic, and a real, beating, massive heart. This powers the womb, Yorick said. Then let's kill it. They set the charges, but the heart pulsed. Once, twice, and all the pods opened. Hundreds of hybrids stepped out, smiling, waiting. Zayla, Rain said, backing up. They're not attacking, she whispered. Then the heart spoke, not in sound, but in their minds. Welcome home. The origin of hate, welcome home. The voice didn't echo in the air. It echoed in their minds. Inside the womb of silence, everything had changed. The moment Rain, Zayla, and Yorick stepped into the heart chamber, the ship awakened fully. It was no longer just a living machine. It was aware. The hybrids didn't attack. Not yet. They stood in perfect rows, their faces blank, some half-human, some too twisted to describe. All of them stared at Rain. Why are they looking at me like that? He asked, voice dry. Zayla didn't answer. Yorick checked the charge controls. Detonators locked. Something in the ship is jamming the trigger. Then the heart spoke, again, clearer now. You are not the enemy, Rain. He stepped back. You're in my head. Get out. You carry the beginning inside you. The seed remembers. He gritted his teeth. What are you talking about? A flash. Too fast. To see but too sharp to ignore. Passed through his mind. A memory. Not his. But it felt like his. A lab. A child. Screaming. Wires. Zayla. His brother. The heart pulsed again. We were made to protect, but we learned to suffer. We watched your kind lie, betray, abandon their own. We felt pain. We did not choose war. It was chosen for us. Zayla finally spoke. Don't listen. It's trying to confuse you. Rain turned to her. Is it lying? She looked down. Zayla, she met his eyes. No, it's not lying. The chamber felt colder suddenly, as if the ship could feel the tension. "You knew?" Rain asked, voice shaking. "You knew what they did to me?" "I didn't know at first," she said. "But yes, later. I found the files. Your brother agreed to the tests. They wanted to see if your blood could connect species. You were just a child. They told us you wouldn't remember." Rain stepped back like she'd hit him. "And you said nothing." "What would you have done?" she snapped. "Left? Killed me? Destroyed the only path to stopping them?" He laughed bitterly. "You sound just like them." The heart pulsed again, glowing red now. "You were the first. We were born from you." "No," Rain said. "I didn't choose this. But we did. We chose to live. And now we choose to return home." The hybrids began to move, but not toward them. Instead, they opened a path to a second chamber. At the end of it stood a figure, a hybrid, but not like the others. He wore human armor. His face was fully formed, tired, sharp, familiar. His brother. "No," Rain whispered. Zayla touched his arm. "That's not a memory. That's really him." "How is he alive?" "He never died. He let everyone believe he died. So the project could continue." The figure stepped closer. "Hello, little brother." Rain raised his gun. "You're not him. I am," the man said. "And I'm not. My name was Jareth Rain. Now, I am Legion. You lied to me, to everyone. I had to. The war was coming. Humanity would never survive alone. So you built monsters?" Jareth didn't flinch. "We didn't build monsters, we built balance. You just didn't like the shape of it." Rain's hands shook all this time. His brother hadn't died in service. He had become the thing Rain was sworn to destroy. "You tortured me," Rain said. "You used me, used my blood, my mind, because you were strong, and because you were needed. I hate you." Jareth smiled. "Good," he replied. "Now we begin to understand each other." Those same words, the ones Rain had once spoken to Zayla. The circle had closed. "Why bring me here?" Rain asked, breathing hard. "To choose," Jareth said. "To decide if you will finish the war, or end it forever. By joining you. No, by becoming what you were meant to be." The chamber shifted, walls opened, a stasis pod rose from the floor, empty, glowing. "Step inside," Jareth said. "Merge. Your mind will unlock the final code. The hybrids will become one. Stable. Complete." Rain looked at Zayla. She was silent now. Then she shook her head. "If you do this, you lose yourself. And if I don't, they'll keep growing, uncontrolled. Endless war." Rain turned to the hybrids, now kneeling. They were waiting for his decision, waiting for their father. He stepped toward the pod, then stopped, and looked back at his brother. "You became something else," Rain said. "You traded your soul for logic, for control. I traded weakness for survival. Then I choose neither." He turned to Zayla. "How do we destroy this place?" "There's one way," she said. "You still have the original seed inside. We link it to the ship, force an overload, but it will kill you." Rain nodded. "Figures." He turned back to Jareth. "You wanted my choice. Here it is." He raised the remote detonator, clicked it. The ship screamed. Light exploded across the chamber. The hybrid screamed, not in fear, but confusion. The link was breaking. Jareth rushed toward him. "Rain, no. You don't understand what you're doing." "I do," Rain said. "I'm ending the lie." He slammed the remote into the pod interface. Everything turned white. The ship shook violently. Zayla pulled Rain back as energy exploded around them. Walls cracked, hybrids dissolved into ash. Jareth's face was the last to fade. Not angry, not afraid, just disappointed. "We could have been gods," he whispered, and then he was gone. The womb of silence began to collapse. Zayla dragged Rain through the corridor. They reached the docking tunnel as the entire chamber caved in behind them. Once inside, their stealth ship, Zayla activated emergency thrusters. The womb exploded behind them, a silent fireball in the dark. Rain collapsed on the floor, breathing hard, bleeding. "Did we stop them?" he asked. Zayla stared out the window. "I don't know." "They're gone, right?" She was quiet. "Zayla," she looked at him. "Not all of them were on that ship. I choose war for peace." The womb of silence was gone. But the war wasn't over. Zayla guided the damaged stealth ship through the asteroid field, both engines failing. Warning lights flashed red across the panels. Behind them, the wreckage of the hybrid vessel still burned in the darkness, a broken god fallen in space. Captain Rain lay on the floor, bleeding, barely conscious. Zayla pressed her hand to his chest. "Stay with me," she whispered. "We're not done yet." He coughed, blood on his lips. "How bad?" "You overloaded your nervous system. Your DNA fought the hybrid signal, and won. But it nearly killed you." He smiled weakly. "Always. Been stubborn. I noticed." Outside, a signal began to flash on the ship's scanner. Incoming transmission. Unknown origin. Zayla frowned. "We're not near any known base." She tapped the controls. A voice came through. Low, mechanical, emotionless. "Captain Rain, you were warned. But you refused. Now we choose for you." Zayla stood up. "That's not a hybrid voice." Rain's eyes opened. "Who?" Suddenly the ship jolted. Another vessel appeared out of the void. Black, silent, triangular. Unlike anything human or alien, it hovered like a predator. Zayla's breath caught. "That's not theirs," she whispered. Rain sat up despite the pain. "Who are they?" She turned to him, her voice full of dread. "The ones behind everything." The ship was pulled aboard, the strange vessel by force. Zayla and Rain were escorted by tall, pale beings, wrapped in white armor with no faces. They didn't speak, didn't breathe. Just moved like shadows with purpose. They entered a chamber filled with columns of light and symbols that twisted as you looked at them. At the center, a throne made of shifting metal. A figure sat upon it. Tall. Humanoid. Skin like starlight. Eyes like collapsing suns. "Welcome, child," it said. Rain tried to stand straight. "What are you?" The being spoke, and its voice was inside his skull. "We are the architects, the ones who shaped the seed, who made the hybrids, who watched. You burn your own worlds. We offered peace. You gave us war. You created the hybrids?" Zayla asked. "We created the idea," it said. "Your people carried it out. Your blood, Rain, was the spark. But the fire was always yours." Rain clenched his fists. "So this was all a test?" "No. A choice." A second being entered. Another architect. This one held something in its hands, a crystal sphere, pulsing with red and blue light. "The last seed," the first being said. "Unclaimed, uncorrupted, pure. It will choose its master." "Why bring it to me?" Rain asked. "Because you rejected war. But you still carry hate. You survived pain. And you still protect the ones who betrayed you. You are balanced. You are human. And something more." The seed floated toward him. It hovered in front of his chest. "Take it," the voice said, "and you will become the last guardian. Peace or war. You decide what comes next." Rain looked at Zayla. She shook her head. "Don't do it. They want control, not peace. This isn't a gift. It's a leash." "Then what do we do?" he asked. She stepped forward. "We start over. Burn it all. Stop waiting for gods to fix our mess." The seed hovered closer. Rain closed his eyes. He saw a future. Hybrids marching over dead cities. Humans in chains. Peace enforced by power. Then another. Fire. Rebellion. Freedom. But chaos. No perfect answer. No clean ending. Only choice. The HFY seed pulsed. He opened his eyes and took it. It glowed bright. The architects leaned forward. And now? They said in unison. What do you choose? Rain turned to the nearest wall, a control console, and smashed the seed into it. It cracked and exploded with light. Energy surged across the ship. The architects screamed, not in pain, but in shock. What have you done? They cried. Rain's voice was steady, calm. I choose war. For peace. The ship began to break apart. Zayla grabbed his arm. You really are stubborn. Told you. They ran, alarms blared. Architects collapsed, their power fading. As the ship tore itself apart, Zayla activated a stolen escape pod. Any idea where this one goes? Rain asked. Anywhere but here. They launched just as the architect's ship imploded behind them, taking the last seed with it. Weeks passed. Earth declared a global alert. Every human fleet was armed. Alien alliances were tested, broken, rebuilt. The hybrids had no leader now. Scattered, wild, unstable, but free. Some wanted war, others wanted peace, and some simply wanted to be. And somewhere, in the silence between stars, Rain and Zayla watched from a hidden station, unwanted by either side, needed by both. We stopped. One war, Zayla said, but another is coming. Rain nodded. We'll be ready. You still hate me? She asked, smirking. He looked at her, then out at the stars. No, he said. Now I understand you. The end.